Hey y'all, welcome to Truth Tuesdays. I know I'm running super late. Um, Thanks for everyone that's here. Happy Independence Day to everyone, whether you're in America or not. Got my notes here. Here we go. Lisa's not here. She didn't tell me that we weren't having one, so I was waiting for a while. But then I just decided to go ahead and do my half on my own. So here we go. It's going to be a little bit different. I thought we were going to be talking about the current events and stuff on her channel, and then I wanted to talk about some of the weird things about uh, about the formation of the United States. Um, hey, Ron, happy happy Independence Day to you. Um, so there's a lot of things that happen in the battles of Trenton. I'm sure a lot of you know the history of it, but I really think that the United States was created and touched by divine. That we're a divine country. A lot of things, if you step back and look at history through a different eye, you can see, Star Wars kind of good versus evil. A lot of freak things that shouldn't have happened. A lot of that did happen, and then incredible um, lucky things you could say that did happen. And I think when there's so much of that, you really can't just say it's luck. Also, when it comes to Washington, I think Washington was ordained um, straight up by God. He's my favorite president for so many reasons. One is because he's a really badass, like John Wick level badass. Uh, I don't know why they don't make a movie about, like a real action movie about uh, Washington. He's kind of like Braveheart, like Mel Gibson was. This is the kind of guy that Washington was, um, except he won. Uh, so we'll start out, and then also, if you haven't heard of George Washington's vision, he was a really godly man, prayed all the time with his men. He was also would get down with his men, um, he did so many things when it comes to military tactics that were not done. They were shocking and frowned upon. Um, but he changed the way wars are fought. Uh, One of the things he did was he killed officers. If it never was like that, war was always just fought with the common man. They were fodder to put out to be killed, and the officers would sit back, and it was like a game of chess. They would have sometimes, lunches and tea and watch the battles. Um, and Washington was like, "No, we shoot that guy." And you shoot that guy, and everybody, no one knows what to do. Um, it was, and that's how we do things now. We go after the leadership, um, because you kill the head of the snake, and the snake dies. And Washington was literally responsible for starting that. Um, so let's. It's hard to start off and where to start off. Let's start off with Washington. Um, he enlisted in the British military, the English Army, when he was 22. Um, in the United States, he was under. I forget the name of the. I got terrible notes because I was rushing. I've been cooking all day and doing stuff, so it's 4th of July, man. Anyway, he was under this British general, and they were attacking a bunch of French, French Indians, and I think French Canadians. But anyway, so they're attacking the French and the French Indians in this fort. And this is not like a weird thing. This happened all the time. Um, but he went to his general. He said, "I don't think that that we should attack this way because this will happen." Of course, they attacked that way. This happened. But they charged on, and they were slaughtering all these people. But no one could. Washington was being shot at and would never get hit. He'd go to the front line. Um, I think it was the leader of the Indian forces um, said he shot at Washington 11 times and never hit him. Um, and that he knew then that he was fighting against a divine intervention. He gave up, put his rifle down, surrendered, and then he told Washington, you know, that he was touched by God, that he was protected by the divine. Washington had holes in his hat, in his jacket, just he was riddled with bullet holes, and not one of them touched him. It was all just his clothes. And like I said, that would go on and on. Egazoo, happy Fourth. So that's it. What else? So the United States is formed, and they go to Washington and say, "Hey, we want you to be the commander general of all of our armies. We want you to lead everything." And he was like, "Why? I am not. I've never commanded more than a regiment. Why are you coming to me?" Once again, I think it was the hand providence God to push them that way. So he was like, if he reminded me of what John McAfee kept saying, he always said that we should always force the people that don't want the position into the position, and they're the ones that are right for it. He didn't, and there was a lot of people that wanted this. They wanted the power, the prestige, to have led, to lead the forces. And a lot of people didn't think this was gonna happen. If you watch Braveheart, it's when it comes to Britain, the biggest, strongest military empire there was. This is how these little colonies acted. They throw a fit, they stand up, and then the leaders get paid off. A lot of people, some people get killed, and then they go back to business as usual. So a lot of people did want this position just for that reason. Anyway, Washington's mother said that she prayed and that God told her that he should take this position. His family's telling him to take it, so he takes the position. And this is once again, they should make a movie about this. There's a funny story that he literally went into a bookstore and came out with 4 books on military tactics, like military tactics for dummies. So he comes out. He takes charge. Where are we at now? All right. So he's leading the forces, and to set the stage of before the Battle of Trenton, before things start going, the tide is turned. Basically, the United States has been a really unruly bad kid, and Mama England, Mama Redcoats have been sending lots of messages back. King George sends half of all of the military of the British Empire. Half. They sent like 35,000 troops, Navy, everything. They came in, and Daddy was home. Daddy came home, and kids were in trouble. It was close to Christmas, but instead of just putting coal in their stocking, Daddy put coal in the stocking and then beat their shit out of the kids with the stocking. I mean, the Redcoats came and just started kicking everyone's ass. It was basically almost over, and there was hardly any fight, and there wasn't a lot of fire. Most of the people in the United States, they're like they are today. Things don't change much. Most of the people just wanted to, live their lives, pay their taxes, and be left alone. So it was only about, and this is still true today, there's only about 3% to 5% that were actually up in arms and fighting. And most of those were actually cowards, which I'll get into. So anyway, British has been kicking everyone's ass. Everything looks very, very bleak when it comes to the United States and where we're at. Um, One of General Washington's generals said that there's this garrison where they have all these cannons and heavy guns, like 2,000-pound cannons, very heavy guns, and it's very lightly fortified. Should he wants to go and take a force and try to get the cannons, and Washington's like, do it, go. So how are they going to get all these cannons and these heavy guns down? So, and this is like fall. He said build sleds, but if there's no snow, a sled is very not a good thing. They should have wagons, and most wagons couldn't really handle. It would be very, very hard to handle all the guns that they were going to get. So he built these giant sleds, and once again, boom! Like the day the sleds were done, massive snowfall. They get up there and they march up there with the empty sleds. No snow. When they got close to the fort, lots of snow. So this general was able to get. And this is over a long period of time. This is taking like a month, 6 weeks. They get all the cannons, all the heavy guns, and are able to pull them quickly with the sleds back down to Washington's forces in Pennsylvania. Most of Washington's forces are now in Pennsylvania. Also, so they had the weird snow, and then when they're coming back, there's a large contingent of British forces that are on the high ground that are going back to the fort for reinforcements, and they're going to get caught. They're going to get busted, and they're going to get shot at from the high ground. Immediately, a heavy fog rolls in and covers them for them to just walk right past them. And the moon was so bright that it shined through the fog and completely led their way. Just another one of those weird things that happened. So it gets back. Washington's there. Now their enlistment is where are we at? Hold on. Okay. So Washington's got about 6,000 men in total. But all these soldiers, the past few battles, literally Washington rides up in the front of the line, and as soon as the British start shooting, people start deserting, people start running away. And he literally is screaming and begging them to fight, to move on with me, fight with me. And they're running away. So his troops are down. He gets a letter, and this kind of ties it into crypto, that the almost say Confederate, the colonial money is going down in value because it looks so bleak, and that they really need some victories. So Washington here. Well, before that, I'll tell you another weird miracle-y thing. So there's bad starvation. They're and why wouldn't these people run away? Their Continental Congress or their government can't keep them fed, clothed, and supplied. So how are they going to beat the biggest empire and the best military in the world? Very disheartening. So everyone's starving. There's thousands of men. It's winter. All of a sudden, there's a freak thaw. And the thaw on the river is in just a specific way that it melts the snow right where Washington's men are and on that side of the bank. So all of the fish start going down the river, salmon and everything, and they're like inundated with. You can just reach out and grab fish out of the river. So a massive amount of food that can dry the fish, so they're not malnourished anymore. They have this cool. You threw me there. I don't want to pay taxes either, man. Yeah. A B&B stick figure. Tell Autumn to come by because I got something for her here. But okay. All right. So where was I? So Washington comes up with a plan. They're in Trenton, there is it's a big amount of forces. And you got to remember that these are farmers, these are shit soldiers, they're running away, they don't know what they're doing. Um, Not the greatest weapons. So they're going up against 1,500 Hessian mercenaries. These are Germans. They're like the greatest soldiers there are. Um, they're mercenaries. England's hired, a buttload of them. So Trenton is guarded by 1,500 um, Hessian soldiers. So, and the reason they're there, this is another thing. The reason that the 1,500 Hessian soldiers are in Trenton is because England knows Washington's decimated. They think they're going to give up at any time, but they didn't want to move all of their troops in, but they wanted him to be watched. So there's 1,500 soldiers at Trenton to watch General Washington's troops, and just to make sure they don't make any surprise movements. But then they don't think he can because the everything's so cold. The Delaware's freezing, the Delaware River. But they're there to just watch Washington. And then they're going to move in the spring. They're going to move in, or they think he'll probably try to if Washington's going to do a thing, he's going to wait till the next year or in the spring. So Washington has an idea that he's going to attack them. They're going to try to cross the Delaware. And they're going to try and cross in three parts. He's going to come up top, and there's going to be two groups of 1,000 each. They're going to, one is going to go down to the south and attack a small fort to keep them busy and be a diversion. And then the other 1,000 will come up and be underneath Trenton. So when Washington comes down from the north into Trenton, and if anyone tries to get away, the 1,000 is there to stop them. But you have to remember, this is 1700s. There's no texting. There's no way to get, accurate intelligence and information quickly. So Washington has to make his plan that won't happen, that there is like a backup plan. So they head out and they march, and what happens? It's a terrible, terrible storm, a nor'easter. They can't see. It's freezing. The river gets even more cold, and it gets more icy. And they're like, it's not just solid ice. There's like many icebergs. Okay. Also, so here, this is the painting Watch Across the Delaware. I have this in my living room, but this is more to what it was. So Washington gets up there. It's terrible. It's freezing, and they don't have anything built. They're not going to take boats, so they get to the shores and they build these rafts, these huge rafts, and they're going to move 2,400 men, like 40 or 400 horses, and I think 14 heavy guns. Remember, those guns are 2,000 pounds apiece. So they have to build the rafts to do this, and they want to be across the river by midnight, so that they can surprise the Hessians Christmas morning. And that's another thing that Washington wanted to do this on Christmas Eve, or on Christmas night, because he knew that would be the best time. Everyone would have their guard down. They would be relaxing, hopefully partying. And there is a lot of there's a myth that the Hessians were all drunk from partying, but they weren't. They weren't allowed. They're not allowed to drink. These soldiers are so nuts. They sleep in their battle gear. They don't even take it off. They're like Mandalorians. They are always ready to go. They keep their helmet on at all times. So they weren't drunk. They weren't, they were, a lot of them were sleeping. But they were, Minutemen, kind of ready to go up, ready to go. They weren't Minutemen. They were on the other side. But all right. So, let me get rid of this. Okay. What do you say? We choose to pay taxes. Only you can take a knee and choose to pay them. That is true. That is true. Taxation is theft. Um, but all right. So Washington starts across Delaware. There's a funny joke that he gets on the boat, and he tells this one guy, "Hey, move your fat ass, but don't stand up because we'll sink or we'll swamp the boat." They talked all super proper. Anyway, they get across. It was very, very, very hard. They couldn't see anything because of this massive storm. Um, Two soldiers fell and died because of the cold on the way there. Now they get across there like 3 a.m, so they're way behind schedule. Um, so they come into Trenton, and once again Washington has to play it like these other two groups that he sent out weren't going to make it across, and they didn't. They couldn't cross, so they were on their own. So he sends part of his men. They could break up into two groups. One goes around the side and tries to come up from the lower bottom, and then he comes through from the north like he had planned on. They hit the Hessians, and the Hessians were right up. It was a huge battle, but they did take them by surprise. They killed 100 men, and they took 900 prisoners. They tried to get out, and because he sent that second group towards the bottom, they caught them and took them all as prisoners. So this is a huge thing. Everyone had counted out the colonial soldiers totally, but this is like crazy. Miracles are happening. So Washington takes over the town, takes the prisoners. They win. But you have to remember, like I said, these were the most elite forces. They had the best equipment, the best weapons, everything. So now all of Washington's men and the military have all that stuff. They take everything. And that's something they always did. Whenever they had a win, they got all that. They took everything from the British. So everyone's pumped now. They've made this big win. But they have to get back. They leave Trenton. They go back to they cross the Delaware back again. They regroup, and it's this huge thing. The leader of the Hessian forces in Germany basically said what Washington did overall was the greatest military tactical campaign ever in the history of mankind. So anyway, yeah, there was a UFO. No, there's not a UFO. Or there may have been. I don't know. A lot of crazy stuff happened. All right, so I'm done with this card. Cool. So Washington gets back, and everything's great, but then they say, you know what? You had this huge win. Kind of Continental Congress, kind of assholes when it comes to Washington. They had a little bit of a tug of war, but this could be looked upon as a fluke. And then of course the rumor was going around that the Hessians were all drunk. So we really would have another win. And the leader of the British forces pissed, super pissed that Washington would do this. So he starts marching down towards Trenton with all the military forces. So Washington has an idea that they're going to go and they're going to back and fight. So they regroup, and Washington meets him on the battlefield. This is like classic, old way of fighting. So the British are all back in Trenton, but they leave their huge fort in Princeton. That was like the headquarters for everything was in Princeton. And he takes almost everybody down there. They're going to crush Washington. So Washington gets there. They're ready, and they have to cross this ravine. So they send a group to end Washington soldiers, wipe them out. They send a second one. He stops them. They send a third one, and they stop them. So it's getting dark. The sun's going down. The British general says, "You know what? Let's stop. We've tested their defenses. We've sent kind of the cannon fodder in against them. Let's all get a nice, let's have a nice night's sleep. Have something to eat, have a good old time, and then we'll go kill Washington and all his people tomorrow. We'll crush this rebellion. It'd be great." His general comes up. He goes, I'm kind of learning and understanding this General Washington guy, and I think he's not going to be here in the morning. We should probably just continue to fight and hold the forces. And he's like, no. He's a pest. Let's just chill out. We'll make sure he's still there, and then we'll attack in the morning and take care of business. So Washington has this brilliant idea that all of the forces are here. Who's at the fort in Princeton? So they set these real big bonfires up close to the water, close to the ravine, and it looks like they're still there. The campfires are burning, kind of old world, like you would think. Thinking Braveheart. They're all just getting ready for their battle tomorrow. It's very, very odd. I always thought as a kid growing up. But during the night, they sneak off and go the 9 miles up to Princeton. And basically there's some little battles happen along the way, but they take Princeton. Morning, they go to fight Washington. He's not there. Nothing's there. And they've just lost their fort to retreat back to. So that's it. The world has seen what Washington has done, what the United States has done. It wasn't a fluke just because of the Trenton battle. There's the campaign turns. I did forget to tell you this. Before they went to meet the British, like I said, all of these enlisted men had enlisted for a period of time. Their enlistment was up. It was Christmas. That was the end of the year. So they were all going to go home to their families and their farms and whatnot. So Washington gives this amazing speech, followed also by, I'll give you $10. And he paid them all $10. And they committed back because they had the win. He rallied everyone and paid them some money. And that's one of the things that really got the ball rolling when it comes to that. Also, because of the wins, people started coming out of the woodworks. People that were on the fence, people that listened to the mainstream media, I guess you could say, and thought there was no hope. But now you can't argue with what happened. So Washington's ranks are growing, and they start steamrolling. Within 2 weeks, they had all British forces completely out of the United States pushed back just to New York. They were back to where they came in New York. So that's kind of the story of how it happened. Like I said, this was more what it was probably like with these flat. Okay, here we go. This is the famous painting. It wasn't like that. They definitely wouldn't be standing up. They were scared they were going to tip over. So, and look, they got this giant horse in a little boat. It's stupid, but it does look cool. Now the second part I want to go over. This is going too long. Is Washington was a praying man, and this is a weird thing. This is odd. So one day Washington was praying, and he had a vision. He said that a beautiful woman came into his chamber and showed him these things. So I'm gonna play this, and I wish Lisa was here because she can. What was this? 5,000 here for okay. By the way, friends, glad you're here. Happy Independence Day. Okay, let me see if I can get this to work. Okay, so y'all can see this, I'm sure. Let me switch this to this. And let me know in the chat if you can hear it. Can you hear it?
Of the Republic.
I had mine muted. Can you hear this one now?
Then my eyes beheld a fearful scene.
Really?
From several continents.
Oh, you can hear this now?
Black clouds that were soon joined.
All right, good. I will. So it's a different browser. All right, here we go. I will play it then.
This afternoon, as I was sitting at this table, something in the apartment seemed to disturb me. Looking up, I beheld standing opposite me a singularly beautiful being. Presently, I heard a voice saying, "Son of the Republic, look and learn." Then my eyes beheld a fearful scene.
And this is the 1700s when he sees this, and the things that the words he uses are insane.
From several continents arose thick black clouds that were soon joined into one. And throughout this mass there gleamed a dark red light, by which I saw hordes of armed men. These men, moving with the cloud, marched by land and sailed by sea to America. As my ears listened to the thundering of the cannon, clashing of the swords, and the shouts and cries of millions in mortal combat, I again heard the mysterious voice saying, Son of the Republic, look and learn. Instantly, a light as of 1,000 suns shone down from above me and pierced and broke into fragments the dark cloud which enveloped America. An angel, upon whose head shone the word Union, and who bore our national flag in one hand and a sword in the other, descended from the heavens attended by legions of white spirits. These immediately joined the inhabitants of America, who I perceived were well nigh overcome, but who immediately, taking courage again, closed up their broken ranks and renewed the battle. Instantly the dark cloud rolled back, together with the armies it had brought, leaving the inhabitants of the land victorious, while the bright angel cried with a loud voice, while the stars remain and the heavens send down dew upon the earth, so long shall the Union last. The scene instantly began to fade and dissolve, and I found myself once more gazing upon the mysterious visitor, who in the same voice I had heard before said, Son of the Republic, what you have seen is thus interpreted. Many will come upon the Republic, but the whole world united shall not prevail against her. Let every child of the Republic learn to live for his God, his land, and union. With these words, the vision vanished, wherein had been shown me the birth, the progress, and the destiny of the United States.
Get my free ebook at mcnaughtonfreebook.com/2021.
That was not the one that I wanted to show you guys, but there you go. That was still pretty cool. That was a little short, so there was other parts to it. In the actual the full thing, there were 3 different battles and 3 different stages. One was the Civil War that he talked about, and he said that in the first part, and this is I thought was very interesting. Because there's only 13 colonies, the United States was this tiny little part of the country over here. He said he saw towns and villages springing up across the land all the way to the Pacific Ocean, which I thought that was very interesting when it came to the manifest destiny and everything, that he saw this in his vision. And then through other battles, he saw those towns go away. And in the end, and he saw each. So the long version is that this angel would dip its hand into the ocean and pour the water over these different continents, and they would come and attack the United States. In the last battle, it was from Middle East, Africa, Asia. They all came over, and they had this dark cloud here in the United States, and there was this big battle. And the United States prevailed. The dark cloud seceded and went back. And it was, they said that even when the whole world stands against us, that the United States would emerge victorious. And that was the end of the crown of the Union. I thought was really interesting because there was no Union and Confederacy or anything. This was the 1700s. If you look at our history, I mean, we're a special country, man. And it's not crappy to say that we're not, or that we are. We killed our own brothers to stop slavery. we fought ourselves. You know, we had a civil war, not for power, but for ideals and for morals. Um, I don't know any other country that had a civil war for that reason. You know, it's usually just a bunch of assholes wanting to have control over the people. Um, what we've accomplished, what we've done in 200 years. You know, I grew up in Europe. It was, I mean, 200 years is a joke. It's nothing to a country. Um, it's a blip of history. And you know what we've done, it's never been done before. And people forget that what we started the country on was a radical, crazy ideal of, you know, you said it, Gregor, you know, of liberty. Um, you know, JDO, I'm going to tell you the truth. That's kind of bullshit. We fought the Civil War, and the South seceded for slavery. And nowadays, you can say it's for civil rights or for states' rights, but it's not, because there's records. No, it is specifically, and this is something there was. I mean, that was a part of it, but it's not why. Every state that seceded gave a speech in Congress. Their representatives gave a speech, and you can go look at every single speech. In every single speech, it ain't about states' rights. It's about slavery. And that's the truth. Go and read, those speeches of why we're seceding, why each state said we are seceding. It's about slavery. Um, but we started the country with this crazy idea, and the world has changed because of it. And now the world's starting to change us. Now this is where we're losing I think we're losing our country. There's not much difference between us and any European country, any other Western West. The West is the West, whereas we were completely different. Um, of the South. Yeah, Stephen Crowder did a really good series on it, which you can check out. Um, which opened my eyes, because that when I watched that series, and he went to a couple of museums, and he really dove into it, and it was like, oh, it was very eye opening for me. But I don't know, just some cool stuff I thought I wanted to share with you guys. Went way longer than I thought it would. Messed me up because Lisa's not here. But hope you guys enjoy the rest of your holiday, no matter where you're at. Have a great day. I'll see you guys on World Blockchain Roundtable on Thursday. Check me out. I think Lisa will probably be there. So you guys take care. I love y'all. I will see y'all on Thursday with World Blockchain Roundtable. I'm going to try to get a crypto meme review, but I'm lazy and a little bit busy, so that's a very bad combination. But you guys take care.